Don't be this guy. We're gonna go over why rest times are important, and we're gonna start right now. Rest periods play a massive role in developing athletes. It also leads to a large amount of structure inside of the programming if those rest periods are actually followed. So what goals do athletes have? Oftentimes they're gonna have to get more explosive. They're gonna have to improve their absolute strength. That means their squat, their bench, their pull-ups. Like, they're gonna have to improve that blast impulse. They wanna get more hypertrophic, and oftentimes they also need to enhance that power endurance. So what does this look like when we're actually speaking in regards to rest times? Those different rest periods might be that 1 minute rest period for the athlete that's really fidgety, or the minute and a half for the person that's following the program as precisely as possible. Some bigger dudes might like to rest 2 minutes, and they'll roll their eyes when they get up and actually go take their lifts, but they'll still follow that 2 minute rest period. Sometimes we might be working with offensive linemen who are a lot bigger, and they might need an extended rest period, somewhere around 3 minutes. And of course, we have that tried and true powerlifter who will take 4.5 to 15 minutes between every single set, making their lift last 3.5 to 4 hours. But let's be real, rest is extremely important, just like getting a really good night's sleep. And that's exactly why you should check out today's video sponsor, Bear. Bear Mattress provides premium mattresses designed to upgrade your sleep, enhance your quality of life, and your overall well-being. And it's delivered directly to your door. Bear Sleep Quiz matches you perfectly to a mattress based off your size and your preference. My wife and I have been sleeping on the same mattress for over a decade. We've got a tiny little room in here, but fortunately, the California King from Bear Mattress fit perfectly into our bedroom. I couldn't feel my wife rolling all over the place. She couldn't feel me. And for the last 2 weeks, we've slept absolutely phenomenally. Bear also provides a lifetime warranty, which is absolutely crazy. They also offer financing and flexible payment terms. Thanks Bear Mattress for sponsoring today's video. Make sure you head over to www.bearmattress.com/GarageStrength. And when you're checking out, enter the code GarageStrength for 25% off any mattresses that you pick up today. Now that we have you recovered and a full night of restful sleep, it's time to dive deep into those rest times. So for training blast impulse, we've got to think about what are we looking for? We're going to be focusing on high speed movements, technical coordination, plyometric movements. Remember, impulse is producing a large amount of force in a constricted time. So everything is going to be based around that. And if it's blast impulse, it's going to happen very quickly. So remember that. Rest periods guide adaptations, and if we're doing high speed movements, this is in the anaerobic alactic system, okay? So everything is going to be as rapid as possible. What is going on is there's going to be a lot of neural drive, a lot of neural firing. So the adaptation has to come back to training our nervous system to fire as effectively as possible with a minimal amount of fatigue. So if we're doing technical coordination movements, or we're doing plyometrics, we're doing sprinting, and we want to focus on that alactic system, and we want to improve our neural drive, what type of rest times are needed? Typically, if we're looking to optimize our plyometrics, if we're looking to optimize that blast impulse period, we need to look at 2 to 3 minutes of recovery to make sure that that next set is done at a very highly effective speed. And those 2 to 3 minute rest periods are also likely going to hold true for most sports performance athletes who are using technical coordination movements. What about absolute strength? If we want to improve our brute strength, how much rest should we take in between these big sets at 285 on a 2.5 inch fat bar on incline bench? God, I'm a beast. So what kind of exercises are we looking at? We're gonna be talking about, again, incline bench, flat bench, pull-ups, back squats, front squats, deadlifts. These are all the types of movements that we're gonna be using when we wanna enhance our absolute strength. The big question that comes into play is what is happening? What type of adaptation is occurring? Are we looking at some type of neural drive? So if we're talking about neural drive, we might be using cluster sets. Comment down below if you guys want a whole video just on how we use cluster sets here at Garage Strength. The other thing that might happen is we might be looking at mechanical tension, okay, or mechanical overload. So we also might be focusing on something that is leading to muscular damage. That all has to be factored into the equation around rest periods. So what kind of rest periods are we gonna be looking at? Typically, if we're doing absolute strength work, we want to focus on about 2 to 3 minutes, because most of the time we are strictly looking to improve that maximal strength. That's what we do inside of peak strength. When we're doing absolute strength work, you're gonna see that timer ticking down at around 2 minutes in between those front squats, back squats, bench presses, and that's gonna lead to better performance and better overall strength gains. So what if we're doing our hypertrophy work? We wanna get as big as possible. We wanna get that nice pump rolling where we wanna get swole traps, swole biceps, and gain big muscles. So what exercises might this be? It might be if we're focusing on dumbbell presses, maybe some rows like T-bar row, some croc rows, long duration, big back, big bicep work for sets of 20. It could also be if we're doing curls, tricep work, anything in regards to bodybuilding. Pumped, swole, left arm swole. So what happens in regard to adaptations? There's gonna be mechanical loading that's gonna lead to potentially some sense of metabolic stress and muscular damage, and that's gonna lead to greater gains with sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. So what should your rest periods be? I would recommend about 1 minute to 1.5 minutes, and hold yourself accountable to those rest periods. If you're doing about 1 minute rest between dumbbell benches and between T-bar rows or even tricep extensions, you're gonna get a huge sarcoplasmic pump. So you guys could do this today, but you need to hold yourself accountable with those accessories and with that specific rest period. That's why we put that rest period inside of peak strength, to make it easier for accountability. It's so easy to disregard rest periods. You might be walking through the gym, you're trying to get a big pump, you've got about 1 minute rest, and then all of a sudden someone starts talking to you about what the weather's like outside, and you get sucked into this long-term conversation with a boomer. So this happens pretty regularly, but rest periods play a pivotal role in adaptations. So even if you're doing endurance-based work or hypertrophic-based work, you have to focus on what that specific rest period is based on your overall goals, which is also why we prioritize that rest period with a rest period timer inside of our brand new app, Peak Strength. Head over to peakstrength.app and you get 7 free days of training from over 35 different sports, personalized specifically to your overall goals. If you want more information and knowledge around training, make sure you check out our podcast, our Masters of Sport podcast on YouTube or any other podcast platform. And remember, freaks, if you want to become a champion, you've always got to cultivate your power. Peace.